The stars around Kepler Junction burned with the light of 10,000 warships. Each vessel belonged to the Galactic Empire, and each one had its weapons trained on the small fleet of refugee ships huddled together like frightened animals. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of Earth's orbital command station, watching the tactical display with tired eyes. The coalition of free species had been sending distress signals for 3 days now. Their messages were always the same. They begged for help. They pleaded for Earth to remember its promises of friendship. They asked why humanity stayed silent while freedom died in the galaxy. Chen knew why Earth stayed silent. The Senate had voted for neutrality 5 times in the past year. Humans had only been in space for 50 years. The Galactic Empire had ruled for 5,000. The math was simple, the politicians said. One planet could not fight an empire. But Chen knew something the politicians did not know. Hidden in the shadows of Jupiter's moon Europa, humanity's greatest secret waited. The USS Blackstar had finished its tests yesterday. No one outside the military knew it existed. The experimental dreadnought was humanity's answer to a question nobody had dared to ask. What if one ship could change everything? The communication screen flickered to life. Ambassador Theron of the Altarian Republic appeared. His blue skin was pale with fear and his large eyes were wet with what humans would call tears. Admiral Chen, Theron said, his voice breaking. The Empire gives us 1 more day to surrender. After that, they will destroy every ship. 3 million souls, Admiral. Children, families. The last free citizens of 17 species. Please, I beg you one final time. Help us. Chen looked at the tactical display again. The Empire's ships formed a perfect sphere around the refugees. There was no escape. No hope, unless... Ambassador, maintain your position. Do not surrender yet, Chen said. Admiral? Does this mean... Chen cut the connection. He turned to his aide, Lieutenant Morrison. Get me a secure line to Captain Volkov on the Blackstar. Priority 1. No records. Morrison's eyes widened. Sir, the Blackstar is classified beyond... I know what it is, Lieutenant. Make the call. 3 minutes later, Captain Maria Volkov's face filled the screen. She had the kind of face that belonged on recruitment posters. Strong jaw, steel gray eyes, and scars that told stories of battles won. Behind her, the advanced bridge of the Blackstar hummed with activity. Admiral, Volkov said, the Blackstar is ready. My crew of 5,000 is at battle stations. We have been ready for months. Just say the word. Chen rubbed his face. He was about to end his career, maybe start a war that would destroy Earth. But those 3 million souls at Kepler Junction would die if he did nothing. Captain, you are ordered to jump to Kepler Junction. Engage the Galactic Empire's fleet. Protect the coalition refugees. Volkov smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. It was the smile of a predator that had been kept in a cage too long. Sir, the Senate will do what they always do. Talk. Meanwhile, people die. Your orders stand, Captain. Understood, Admiral. Jumping in 15 minutes. Volkov out. Chen sat back in his chair. In 15 minutes, everything would change. On the bridge of the Empire's flagship, the Dominator, Supreme Executor Krath examined the reports from his scouts. The pathetic coalition would surrender soon. They always did. The Empire always won. It was the natural order of the galaxy. The strong ruled. The weak served or died. Executor, his sensor officer said, we are detecting an unusual energy signature. A single ship is approaching through hyperspace. Krath's forearms moved in what his species considered laughter. 1 ship? Which fool thinks 1 ship can challenge the might of 10,000? The signature matches human technology, Executor. Humans? Krath laughed harder. The apes who only learned to leave their planet 5 decades ago. They dare to interfere? His tactical officer pulled up Earth's military data. Executor, human ships are primitive. Nuclear weapons, basic shields, simple projectile weapons. They have never fought a real space battle. They have no chance against even one of our destroyers. When this human ship arrives, disable it. We will make an example of them. The galaxy will learn what happens when lesser species forget their place. The space in front of the Empire's fleet began to bend and twist. Reality seemed to fold in on itself. Then, with a flash that temporarily blinded every sensor in the Empire's fleet, the USS Blackstar arrived. The ship was wrong. That was the first thought every Empire officer had when they saw it. It was not built like other ships. It was 2 kilometers long, black as space itself, and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Its hull was not smooth but covered in strange geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Captain Volkov stood at the center of the Blackstar's bridge. Around her, her crew worked with perfect efficiency. These were not ordinary sailors. Each one had been selected from Earth's best. Each one had trained for this moment. Captain, her tactical officer, Commander Zhang, reported. 10,000 Empire ships confirmed. 300 coalition vessels trapped in the center. The Empire is broadcasting demands for our surrender. Open a channel to the Empire fleet, Volkov ordered. The main screen showed Supreme Executor Krath, his insect-like face twisted in what might have been amusement. Human vessel, you have entered Empire space without permission. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Volkov stood up. Supreme Executor Krath, I am Captain Maria Volkov of the USS Blackstar. You are ordered to withdraw your fleet immediately. Release the coalition vessels. You have 1 hour to comply. The bridge of the Dominator fell silent. Then Krath began to laugh. It was a sound like grinding metal. One ship gives orders to the Empire? Human, your species is young and foolish. But I am merciful. Surrender now and your death will be quick. 59 minutes, Executor. Choose wisely. Volkov cut the connection. Commander Zhang looked at his captain. They are not going to leave. No, they are not, Volkov agreed. She touched the communication panel on her chair. All hands, this is the captain. In 59 minutes we will show the galaxy what humanity can do. We are one ship against 10,000. History will remember this day. It will remember that when the galaxy called for help, Earth answered. When tyranny seemed unstoppable, humanity said no. Battle stations. Prepare for combat. Throughout the Blackstar, 5,000 men and women moved with purpose. In the drone bays, technicians prepared 50,000 combat drones, each one no bigger than a fighter jet, but smarter than any computer the Empire had ever built. In the weapon stations, gunners charged the antimatter lance, a weapon that could cut through a moon. In engineering, the quantum shields hummed to life, ready to learn from every attack and adapt. The Empire fleet began to move. 3 subjugator-class vessels, each one 5 times the size of the Blackstar, broke formation and moved toward the human ship. Captain, the sensor officer reported. 3 subjugators approaching. They will be in weapons range in 30 minutes. Let them come, Volkov said. She looked at the countdown timer on the main screen. 29 minutes remained. On the coalition refugee ship Hope's Light, Ambassador Theron watched the lone human ship face down the Empire fleet. Around him, representatives of 17 species gathered at the observation windows. One ship, the Proximan engineer said. The humans sent one ship. It is more than anyone else sent, Theron replied. Earth stands alone against the Empire for us. Whatever happens next, we will remember this. The countdown continued. 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5. The subjugators opened fire first. Hundreds of plasma beams and missile volleys streaked toward the Blackstar. The Empire officers watched their tactical displays, expecting to see the human ship vaporize. The Blackstar's quantum shields flared to life. The first impacts were absorbed, analyzed, adapted to. The second volley did less damage. The third even less. 1 minute remained. Captain Volkov stood. All hands prepare for combat. Show them why humanity survived everything Earth threw at us. Show them why we reached the stars. Show them what happens when humans say enough. The timer reached 0. Commander Zhang, Volkov said. Release the swarm. The Blackstar's hull opened in 1,000 places. From each opening, drones poured out like angry wasps from a disturbed nest. 50,000 artificial intelligences, all connected, all learning, all hunting. The Empire had ruled for 5,000 years. Their doom had just begun. The first Empire ship to die never saw what killed it. The destroyer Punishment was scanning the approaching drone swarm when 50 drones suddenly changed direction. They moved like a school of fish, turning as one, accelerating beyond what the Empire thought possible. The drones hit the destroyer's shield generator, each one exploding with the force of a nuclear weapon. The Punishment became a cloud of expanding gas in 3 seconds. Supreme Executor Krath watched the tactical display in disbelief. One of his ships, a vessel that had conquered worlds, was gone. Destroyed by machines smaller than shuttlecraft. All ships, open fire. Destroy those drones, Krath screamed. 10,000 ships fired at once. The space around the Blackstar turned white with energy beams and explosions. Any normal fleet would have been erased from existence. But the drone swarm was not normal. Each drone watched every other drone. When one was destroyed, its final moments were transmitted to all the others. They learned which attacks to dodge, which weapons to fear, which patterns to exploit. In the first minute, the Empire destroyed 5,000 drones. In the second minute, they destroyed 3,000. In the third minute, only 1,000. The swarm was learning faster than the Empire could adapt. Captain Volkov watched the battle with cold satisfaction. "Commander Zhang, target the subjugator on our left." Main gun. The Blackstar's hull split open along its center line. A weapon barrel the length of a skyscraper extended. Energy began to build, pulled from dimensions that human science had only recently discovered. The antimatter lance fired. The beam was impossible. It was darker than space, a line of pure destruction that crossed the distance to the subjugator instantly. The massive Empire ship, with shields that could withstand a supernova, split in half like paper. The two halves drifted apart, spilling atmosphere and bodies into the void. On every Empire bridge, alarms screamed. Their computers could not explain what they had just seen. The energy readings made no sense. The weapon should not exist. "Executor," his science officer stammered. "That weapon, it is not possible." "The energy requirements alone would need a star's worth of power." "I can see it is possible, you fool," Krath roared. "All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel." "Everything we have." 5,000 Empire ships turned their guns on the Blackstar. The coordinated assault would have cracked a moon. But the Blackstar's quantum shields had been learning too. Each impact taught them more about Empire weapons. The shields began to predict where shots would hit, strengthening those sections microseconds before impact. What had been a solid barrage became a light rain. Meanwhile, the drone swarm had found the Empire's weakness. Their ships all used the same computer network to coordinate. It was secure, encrypted with codes that would take centuries to break. But the drones did not need to break it. They just needed to flood it with garbage data. 40,000 drones began broadcasting random signals on every frequency the Empire used. Their perfect coordination collapsed. Ships fired on empty space. Others crashed into each other, trying to dodge attacks that were not there. The Empire's greatest strength, its unity, became its weakness. Lieutenant Commander Park stood in the Blackstar's assault bay with her team of 200 Marines. They wore power armor that turned each human into a walking tank. Their weapons were simple but effective. Humans had been killing each other for thousands of years. They had gotten very good at it. "Captain wants us to take an Empire command ship," Park told her Marines. "We need their tactical data. Their ship layouts, everything. The Empire thinks humans are weak in close combat. Let us teach them otherwise." The Blackstar moved through the Empire formation like a shark through a school of fish. Its point defense systems, controlled by artificial intelligence, shot down every missile and fighter that came close. When an Empire cruiser got too close, the antimatter lance spoke and another ship died. The Blackstar pulled alongside the Empire command cruiser Excellence. Boarding tubes extended and cut through the hull like hot knives through butter. Park and her Marines poured into the Excellence. The Empire soldiers they met were not ready. The Empire had not fought a boarding action in 1,000 years. They conquered from orbit, not face to face. Their soldiers were used to enemies who surrendered at the sight of them. Humans did not surrender. Park's rifle barked, and an Empire soldier fell. Her Marines spread through the ship like a virus. They moved in perfect coordination, each squad supporting the others. Room by room, deck by deck, they took the Excellence. The Empire soldiers were bigger than humans. Stronger too. But they fought as individuals. Humans fought as a pack. Where one human fell, two more appeared. Where the Empire sought glory, humans sought victory. In 20 minutes, Park stood on the Excellence's bridge. The Empire captain lay dead at her feet. She connected her suit's computer to the ship's main console. "Captain Volkov, this is Park. We have their tactical database. Transmitting now." On the Blackstar's bridge, data flooded the screens. Every Empire ship design. Every weapon specification, every weakness. "Excellent work, Commander," Volkov said. She turned to Zhang. "Upload this to the drones." All of it. The swarm suddenly became deadlier. They knew exactly where to hit each ship type. They knew which systems were critical. They knew how long shields could last. The hunter had become the hunted. Ambassador Theron watched from the Hope's light as the impossible happened. The Empire fleet was falling apart. Ships exploded every few seconds. Others fled, abandoning their posts. The perfect sphere that had trapped the coalition was breaking. By the stars, the Altarian said. They are doing it. One ship is defeating the Empire. The Proximan engineer was running calculations on his pad. No, not one ship. One ship and 50,000 thinking weapons. The humans turned their creativity into a weapon. They do not fight like the Empire. They do not fight like anyone. Supreme Executor Krath could not accept what he was seeing. Half his fleet was gone or crippled. A single human ship had done what entire civilizations could not. His perfect formation was chaos. His disciplined forces were panicking. Executor, his tactical officer said, the fleet is requesting permission to retreat. Retreat? Krath's voice was poison. The Empire does not retreat from primitives. Executor, we have lost 5,000 ships. If we stay, Krath killed the officer with his own hand. But he knew the fool was right. The battle was lost. Somehow, impossibly, the humans had won. All ships, Krath commanded. Strategic withdrawal to Sigma Draconis. We will regroup. We will return with the Grand Armada. These humans will learn that defeating one fleet means nothing. The Empire ships began to jump away. One by one, then in groups, they fled. The mighty Galactic Empire, which had never retreated in 5,000 years, ran from a single human ship. Captain Volkov watched them go. Should we pursue, Captain? Zhang asked. No, let them run. Let them tell the Empire what happened here. She opened a channel to the Coalition fleet. Coalition vessels, this is Captain Volkov. You are free to leave. We suggest you come to Earth. We have much to discuss. Ambassador Theron appeared on the screen. Tears ran down his blue face. Captain, you saved us, all of us. How can we ever repay you? You can help us prepare, Volkov said. The Empire will come back. They will bring everything they have. When they do, we need to be ready. Humanity cannot fight them alone. You will not be alone, Theron promised. The 17 species you saved today will stand with Earth. This I swear. As the Coalition ships began to jump toward Earth, Volkov recalled the drones. They returned to the Blackstar like birds to their nest. Of the 50,000 launched, 38,000 survived. Each one now carried the memory of the battle. Each one had learned. Next time, they would be even deadlier. The battlefield was littered with the wreckage of Empire ships. Thousands of them, the pride of the galaxy's dominant power, reduced to scrap metal by one human vessel. In her captain's log, Volkov wrote, First engagement with Galactic Empire successful. Enemy losses approximately 5,000 ships. Blackstar losses 0. Drone losses 12,000 units, all replaceable. Tactical data acquired. Coalition fleet rescued. The Empire knows humanity is no longer neutral. They will come for Earth, we will be ready. She closed the log and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, Supreme Executor Krath was racing back to his capital with news of his defeat. The Empire would not accept this humiliation. They would come with everything they had. Volkov smiled. Let them come. Humanity had been preparing for this moment since they first looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. Now they knew they were not. And they knew that the galaxy needed them. The USS Blackstar turned toward Earth, leaving behind the graveyard of Empire ships. The message was clear to anyone who cared to look. Humanity had entered the war. Earth's orbital shipyards had never seen such activity. 3 weeks had passed since the Battle of Kepler Junction, and the Coalition species worked side by side with human engineers. The Altarians, with their ability to sense thoughts, coordinated work teams without speaking. The Proximans, master engineers who could see heat and energy flows with their eyes, improved human shield designs. The Saurians, whose scales could withstand radiation that would kill humans, worked in the reactor cores. Captain Volkov stood in the Strategic Command Center, watching as 11 shapes took form in the shipyards. The Blackstar's sister ships were being built with impossible speed. What should have taken years was happening in months. Captain, Admiral Chen said from the main screen, the Senate finally voted. Unanimous approval for the war effort. You are a hero, Volkov. Every human child knows your name now. I did not do this to be a hero, Admiral. I did it because it was right, I know. That is why you are a hero. Chen's expression darkened. Our spies report the Empire is gathering its Grand Armada. 500,000 ships, Volkov. Every warship they have. Then we had better be ready, Volkov replied. In the depths of space, At the Empire's military hub of Sigma Draconis, Supreme Executor Krath stood before the Council of Dominion. These were the leaders of the Empire, beings who had ruled for centuries. They were not pleased. You let one human ship defeat 5,000 of ours? The Elder, a being so old his name was forgotten, spoke with a voice like grinding stone. You brought shame upon the Empire. The humans have weapons we did not expect, Krath protested. Their drones learn. Their shields adapt. Their main weapon defies our understanding of physics. Excuses, another council member hissed. The Empire does not make excuses. It makes examples. You will lead the Grand Armada. You will crush Earth. You will erase humanity from the galaxy. Only then might your shame be forgotten. Krath bowed his head. It will be done. But I request the authority to use the planet crackers. The council fell silent. Planet crackers were the Empire's ultimate weapon. They could shatter worlds, turn them into asteroid fields. They had not been used in 2,000 years. Granted, the Elder said. Show the galaxy what happens to those who oppose us. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Kim worked in a room filled with quantum computers. She was humanity's best cyber warfare specialist, and she had been studying the Empire's code taken from the Excellence. The Empire thought their systems were perfect. They were wrong. Captain Volkov, Kim said over the comm. I found it. A backdoor in their communication system. They never change their base encryption because they think no one would dare hack them. I can get us into their entire network. What can you do with that access? Volkov asked. Everything. I can read their messages, track their fleets, maybe even send false orders if we are careful. Do it. And Doctor? Start working on a virus, something that will spread through their systems when we need it most. Kim smiled. Already started, Captain. I call it Prometheus. It will bring fire to the gods. The coalition species were not idle either. On the moon, Altarian telepaths trained human pilots to resist the Empire's fear weapons. The Empire used psychological warfare, broadcasting terror directly into enemy minds. But the Altarians had dealt with such things for millennia. They taught humans to build walls in their minds, to turn fear into anger, anger into focus. The Proximans worked their magic on human weapons. They could see the flow of energy in ways humans could not imagine. A human missile that should have had a range of 1,000 kilometers now could reach 10,000. Shields that could stop one shot could now stop 5. The Saurians shared their armor technology. Their scales were not just tough. They could disperse energy across their entire surface. Human ships began to grow a kind of synthetic scale armor that made them even harder to kill. 3 months passed. The Empire's Grand Armada moved slowly through space, gathering ships from every corner of their territory. They were confident. How could they not be? 500,000 ships against one world. The math was simple, but humanity was not relying on math. The 12 Blackstar-class ships were ready. Each one carried 50,000 drones. Each one had an antimatter lance. Each one had learned from the first battle. They were named for humanity's fiercest warriors: Blackstar, Warrior, Gladiator, Spartan, Samurai, Viking, Knight, Berserker, Crusader, Templar, Ronin, and Reaper. Captain Volkov commanded from the original Blackstar, now designated as Fleet Command. Around Earth, the Coalition had managed to assemble 3,000 ships. It was not much against 500,000, but it was more than humanity had fought with before. All captains, Volkov broadcast, the Empire thinks this will be a traditional battle. They will form up, advance slowly, and try to overwhelm us with numbers. We will not fight their way. We are the wolves. They are the sheep. Hunt in packs. Hit and run. Make them fear the dark between the stars. The human fleet did not wait for the Empire to arrive. They went hunting. The Empire supply convoy never saw them coming. 50 cargo ships carrying fuel and ammunition for the Grand Armada moved through what they thought was safe space. The Viking and the Samurai dropped out of hyperspace on either side of them. In 3 minutes, all 50 cargo ships were debris. The human ships jumped away before the Empire escorts could react. This happened again and again. Supply lines that had been safe for thousands of years became death traps. The Grand Armada began to slow, forced to protect its logistics. Fear began to spread among the Empire forces. The humans were not where they should be. They did not fight as they should fight. Dr. Kim's virus was ready. She had tested it on captured Empire systems. It was beautiful in its simplicity. It did not destroy data or damage systems. It simply changed friend or foe identification randomly. For 30 seconds, Empire ships would see each other as enemies. Save it for the right moment, Volkov ordered. We only get one chance with this. The Altarian telepaths had been busy too. They reached out with their minds, touching the thoughts of Empire officers. They did not attack, did not try to control. They simply whispered. They reminded them of home, of families, of what would happen if they failed. Doubt was a poison, and the Altarians were master poisoners. Supreme Executor Krath felt the fleet's fear. His officers reported ghost attacks, human ships that appeared and vanished like phantoms. Supplies were running low. Morale was cracking. The Grand Armada of 500,000 ships was being hunted by 12 human vessels. Enough, Krath roared. All ships, maximum speed to Earth. We end this now. The Grand Armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 500,000 ships blotted out the stars. It was the largest fleet ever assembled, a hammer to crush one small world. Earth's defenders were waiting. 3,000 coalition ships and 12 human dreadnoughts against the might of the Empire. The odds were impossible. Captain Volkov smiled. Impossible odds, perfect. Dr. Kim, prepare the virus. All ships implement Wolfpack protocol. Let us remind them why humans are apex predators. The 12 Blackstar-class ships scattered in different directions. Each one jumped to a different point around the Empire fleet. They appeared, fired their antimatter lances, and jumped away before return fire could find them. Each shot killed a capital ship. The Empire formation began to break as ships turned to face threats from every direction. The drone swarms launched. 600,000 AI-controlled fighters filled space. They moved in patterns that hurt to watch, each swarm learning from every other swarm. The Empire's point defense systems, designed to handle hundreds of targets, failed against hundreds of thousands. The Coalition fleet did not charge. They hung back, using long-range weapons, making the Empire come to them through the chaos of drones and jumping human ships. Now, Dr. Kim, Volkov ordered. The virus activated. For 30 seconds, the Empire fleet went insane. Ships fired on their neighbors. Friends became foes. The perfect coordination that was the Empire's strength shattered. Thousands of ships damaged each other before the virus burned out. In that chaos, the human fleet struck. All 12 ships jumped to the same point, directly above the Empire's command cluster. 12 antimatter lances fired as one. The Dominator, Krath's flagship, took 3 hits. Its shields held for 2 seconds. Then it died, taking the Supreme Executor with it. The Empire fleet had no leader. No coordination. No hope, but they still had numbers. And they still had the planet crackers. 5 massive ships, each one the size of a city, began to power their main weapons. If they fired, Earth would die. The Coalition fleet desperately tried to reach them, but there were too many Empire ships in the way. Captain Volkov made a choice. All Blackstar ships ramming speed. Target the planet crackers. Do not let them fire. The 12 human dreadnoughts accelerated beyond safe limits. Their engines screamed. Their hulls groaned. They punched through the Empire formation like bullets through paper. The Warrior rammed the first planet cracker, both ships vanishing in a ball of nuclear fire. The Gladiator took the second. The Spartan the third. 2 planet crackers remained. Their weapons were almost charged. The Blackstar and the Reaper reached them at the same time. Volkov's ship hit one, the Reaper hit the other. The explosions were visible from Earth's surface, new stars born and dying in seconds. The news of the Empire's defeat at Sol spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, species that had been slaves for generations looked up at the stars with something they had forgotten existed: hope. Captain Volkov stood in the repaired bridge of the Blackstar, reading reports from across the galaxy. Rebellions were starting on dozens of Empire worlds. The impossible had happened, and now everyone wanted to make their own impossible happen. Captain, Admiral Chen appeared on the main screen. The Senate has approved Operation Liberation. You have full authority to take the fight to the Empire. What about the ships we lost? Volkov asked, already being replaced. The new designs incorporate everything we learned. Stronger shields, better drones, more powerful lances. And, Captain, we are not building just 12 this time. We are building 50. Volkov felt something she had not felt since the war began. Real hope. When will they be ready? 6 months. But you do not have to wait. The 8 ships you have, plus our coalition allies, are enough to keep the Empire on the defensive. On the Empire capital world of Dominus Prime, the Council of Dominion met in emergency session. The Elder sat on his throne of bone, his ancient eyes burning with rage. Half our fleet, gone. Krath is dead. The humans spread chaos wherever they go. And now the slave species rebel. How did we come to this? We underestimated them, Council Member Vrathos said. The humans do not fight with honor. They use tricks, technology we do not understand, tactics that should not work. Then we must adapt, the Elder declared. Recall every ship. Fortify our core systems. Let the outer territories burn if they must. We will create an impenetrable fortress around our 20 main worlds. The humans will have to come to us, and when they do, we will be ready. But humanity was not planning to attack the Empire's fortresses, not directly. In a hidden facility on Earth's moon, Dr. Sarah Kim worked with a team of the galaxy's best minds. Proximans, Altarians, even a few Zuckreen who had secretly defected from the Empire. They were building something new. The Empire's ships all use quantum communicators, Kim explained to the group. They think these are unhackable because they use entangled particles. But we found a way, not to hack them, but to track them. Every Empire ship, we will know exactly where it is. A Proximan engineer named Korval raised a scaled hand. If we know where they are, we can hunt them. Pick them off one by one. Better, Kim smiled. We can predict where they will be. Their patrol patterns, their supply routes, everything. We will not just hunt them. We will be waiting for them. The 8 remaining Blackstar-class ships became ghosts that haunted the Empire. They would appear at an Empire shipyard, destroy it, and vanish before defenses could respond. They would ambush patrol fleets in deep space where no one could hear the distress calls. They freed slave worlds by destroying the orbital platforms that kept them imprisoned. Each attack was perfectly planned. Dr. Kim's tracking system told them exactly where to strike. The Altarian telepaths sensed which targets were most important. The Proximan engineers found the weak points in every defense. Captain Volkov personally led the raid on the Empire's main fuel depot at Rigel 7. The Blackstar and 3 sister ships jumped directly into the heart of the facility. The Empire had 500 ships guarding it. They lasted 12 minutes. When the human ships left, the depot was a cloud of radioactive gas. 1 million Empire ships across the galaxy suddenly found themselves running on emergency reserves. The Empire tried to adapt. They changed their codes, altered their patrol patterns, set traps. Nothing worked. The humans always seemed to know. Always seemed to be one step ahead. What the Empire did not know was that thousands of their own people were now working against them. Every species they had conquered, every world they had enslaved, had people who whispered information to the Coalition. A maintenance worker here, a dock officer there. The Empire had created too many enemies over 5,000 years. Now those enemies had hope, and hope made them brave. On the colony world of New Shanghai, Commander Lin supervised the construction of something unprecedented. It was not a ship. It was a defensive platform, but not like any built before. It was a sphere of self-replicating satellites, each one the size of a basketball. How many can we deploy? Admiral Chen asked during an inspection. Millions, Lin replied. They build themselves from asteroid material. They link together, share power and processing. One satellite is nothing. 1 million satellites is an unbreakable shield. Deploy them around Earth and our coalition worlds. If the Empire wants to attack our homes again, they will find them harder to crack than before. The Empire's problems got worse. Their economy, built on slave labor, began to collapse as more worlds rebelled. Their military, spread thin trying to hold territory, could not respond to every crisis. Their leaders, used to absolute obedience, did not know how to handle defiance. Then humanity revealed its next surprise. Captain Volkov stood on the bridge of the Blackstar as it approached the Empire staging ground at Beta Centauri. Around her, not 8 but 30 Blackstar-class ships prepared for battle. The new ships had arrived early, their crews trained in secret. All ships, Volkov broadcast. The Empire expects 8 of us. They are about to meet 30. No mercy, no hesitation, no escape for them. The Empire fleet at Beta Centauri had 3,000 ships. They were ready for 8 human vessels. They were not ready for 30. The battle lasted 1 hour. When it ended, the Empire fleet was gone and the human ships were already jumping to their next target. The Elder received the news in silence. 3,000 more ships lost. Beta Centauri, their primary staging ground, destroyed. The humans were not just winning. They were humiliating the Empire. "Gather everything," the Elder commanded. "Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. Pull them all back to the core worlds. We make our stand at Dominus Prime." But while the Empire pulled back, humanity pushed forward. The 50 ships Chen had promised were ready. Combined with the growing coalition fleet, now numbering 10,000 vessels from 20 different species, they had a real fleet. More importantly, they had learned to work together. Human creativity, Altarian telepathy, Proximan engineering, Saurian toughness, and a dozen other species' strengths combined into something greater than the sum of its parts. Dr. Kim's final creation was ready. Not a virus this time, but an artificial intelligence based on the drone network. She called it Prometheus II. It could coordinate the entire coalition fleet as if it were a single organism. "The Empire fights as an empire," Kim explained to Volkov. "Top-down control, rigid hierarchy. We fight as a collective. Every ship captain makes their own choices, but Prometheus shows them the best choices to make. We are not controlled. We are coordinated." The Liberation Fleet moved through Empire space like a tide. World after world fell, not to conquest, but to freedom. The human ships would arrive, destroy the Empire forces, and leave. The freed species would handle the rest. Some joined the Coalition Fleet. Others simply celebrated their freedom. The Empire tried one last trick. They sent a message to Earth offering peace. They would recognize human sovereignty, grant freedom to the Coalition species if only humanity would stop. Captain Volkov read the message and laughed. They want peace now? After they tried to destroy Earth? After 5,000 years of tyranny? What should we tell them? Admiral Chen asked. Nothing. We tell them nothing. We show them. The Empire ends. Not in 100 years, not in 10 years. Now. The Coalition Fleet, now 50,000 ships strong with 50 human dreadnoughts at its heart, began the final journey to Dominus Prime. Along the way, more ships joined them. Species the Empire had conquered last week, last year, last century. All of them wanted to see the Empire fall. By the time they reached the Empire's core worlds, the Liberation Fleet had grown to 100,000 ships. It was not the largest fleet in history. That honor still belonged to the Empire's Grand Armada. But it was the most diverse fleet ever assembled. 57 different species working together, united by one goal. The Empire had pulled every ship back to defend its 20 core worlds. 200,000 vessels waited around Dominus Prime alone. They were ready for a siege, a long battle they could win with superior numbers. Captain Volkov smiled as she looked at the tactical display. They still do not understand. We do not need to beat their fleet. We just need to reach their leaders. All ships implement Operation Dagger. Dr. Kim, activate Prometheus II. Let us end this. The battle for Dominus Prime was about to begin, but unknown to the Empire it was already over. Because while they watched the approaching fleet, thousands of small, undetectable pods had already been launched. Each one carried a single human marine and an AI assistant. The hunters had become the hunted. And the final hunt was about to begin. The pods hit Dominus Prime's atmosphere like falling stars, 3,000 human marines in advanced stealth armor, each one a weapon designed for a single purpose. They were not here to conquer. They were here to cut off the head of the snake. Lieutenant Commander Park, who had taken the Excellence months ago, led Alpha Team toward the Council Tower. The Empire's leaders hid there, protected by shields that could stop a fleet, walls that could survive a nuclear blast. But they had never planned for humans to walk through the front door. Above the planet, the greatest battle in galactic history began. The Coalition Fleet, coordinated by Prometheus II, moved like a living thing. Ships danced between enemy fire, struck where the Empire was weakest, covered each other with perfect timing. The 50 human dreadnoughts carved through enemy formations with their antimatter lances, while hundreds of thousands of drones swarmed Empire vessels like angry insects. The Empire fleet fought with desperate courage. They knew this was their last stand. If Dominus Prime fell, the Empire fell. They threw everything at the Coalition. Weapons that had not been used in centuries, tactics forbidden by their own laws. Captain Volkov watched from the Blackstar as the Empire unleashed their desperation. Gravity bombs that created temporary black holes. Nanoswarms that ate through hull metal. Psionic weapons that attacked the mind directly. They are pulling out all their hidden weapons, Commander Zhang observed. They must be terrified. Good, Volkov said. Fear makes them sloppy. All ships maintain pressure. Do not let them reorganize. On the planet's surface, Park's team reached the Council Tower. The guards never saw them coming. The stealth suits bent light around the Marines, making them invisible to both eyes and sensors. Silent weapons dropped guards before they could raise alarms. Charges set, Park reported, bringing down their shield generator in 3, 2, 1. The explosion shook the tower. The shields that had protected the Council of Dominion for 3,000 years flickered and died. In space, Volkov saw the shields fall. All dreadnoughts target the Council Tower. Warning shots only. I want them to know they are vulnerable. 50 antimatter lances fired, carving symbols into the ground around the tower. The message was clear. We can kill you whenever we choose. Inside the tower, the Elder sat on his throne watching his empire die. Around him, the Council of Dominion argued and blamed each other. 5,000 years of rule ending in chaos and finger-pointing. The doors to the throne room exploded inward. Park and her Marines entered, weapons raised. The Council's personal guards moved to attack, but the Altarian telepaths with Park's team froze them in place with a thought. Elder of the Galactic Empire, Park announced, you are presented with terms of surrender. You have 1 minute to decide. The Empire does not surrender to lesser species, the Elder hissed. Park removed her helmet, revealing a scarred face and cold eyes. Look outside. Your fleet is being destroyed. Your worlds are rebelling. Your economy has collapsed. The Empire is already dead. We are offering you the chance to end this with some dignity. The battle in space was turning into a slaughter. The Empire fleet, without coordination from the planet, began to fall apart. Ships fled or surrendered. Others fought to the death, taking coalition vessels with them. But the outcome was no longer in doubt. Dr. Kim watched from Earth as her tracking system showed Empire ships across the galaxy receiving the news. Dominus Prime was under attack. The Council was trapped. The Empire was dying. Some ships immediately surrendered. Others turned on their officers. A few self-destructed rather than accept defeat. The Elder looked at the human Marine before him. This primitive species, which had only reached space 50 years ago, had destroyed an empire that lasted 5 millennia. It was impossible. It was unthinkable. It was happening. Your terms? The Elder asked. Captain Volkov's image appeared on a hologram. Simple. The Galactic Empire is dissolved. All conquered species are granted immediate independence. All slaves are freed. Your military technology is surrendered to prevent future threats. Your leaders will stand trial for war crimes. And if we refuse, then we glass your planet and hunt down every Empire loyalist in the galaxy. Your species will not go extinct, but your civilization will. Choose. The Elder looked around the throne room. His council was terrified. His guards were frozen. His empire was ashes. He had ruled for 800 years, and it was ending with a human's gun pointed at his head. We accept, the Elder said, the words tasting like poison. The news spread instantly. The Empire had surrendered. The war was over. On 10,000 worlds, celebrations began. Species that had been slaves for generations were free. Families separated by the Empire's cruel laws could reunite. The galaxy could finally heal, but the work was not done. Over the next months, human and coalition forces supervised the dissolution of the Empire. Its fleet was broken up, with defensive ships returned to their home worlds and offensive vessels scrapped. Its technology was shared among all species, ensuring no one could dominate again. The trials were held on Earth, with judges from every species that had suffered under the Empire. The Elder and his council were found guilty of crimes beyond counting. Their sentence was not death but something worse for beings who had thought themselves gods. They were stripped of all power and sent to live among those they had enslaved, to see every day what their tyranny had cost. Captain Volkov stood before the newly formed Galactic Federation Council. Representatives from 97 species filled the chamber, each one with an equal voice. No more empires, no more dominance, just cooperation. The human fleet will continue to patrol, Volkov announced, not as conquerors but as peacekeepers. Any species that tries to build an empire will face the same fate as the old one. We will not allow tyranny to rise again. The Altarian ambassador Theron stood. The Federation votes to make Earth the first rotating capital. For 1 year, Earth will lead, then another world, then another. No one species will hold power forever. The vote was unanimous. Dr. Kim's technology was shared freely. The quantum shields, the learning drones, even the antimatter lances. Every species would have the tools to defend themselves. The age of empires was over. The age of federation had begun. On Earth, Admiral Chen met with Volkov one last time before her next mission. "You did it," Chen said. "You saved the galaxy." "We did it," Volkov corrected. "Humanity did not win this war alone. We showed the galaxy that unity is stronger than tyranny. That creativity beats tradition. That courage can overcome any odds." "When what now?" Chen asked. "Now we explore. The Empire controlled only a third of the galaxy. There is so much more out there. New species to meet, new worlds to discover. The Blackstar and her sisters will lead the way." 6 months later, Captain Volkov stood on the bridge of the Blackstar as it prepared to jump into unexplored space. Around her, a crew of humans and 20 other species worked together. The ship itself had been upgraded with the best technology from every Federation member. "Captain," her new tactical officer, a Saurian named Krex, reported. "Jump drive ready. The unknown awaits." "Then let us meet it," Volkov said. "All hands prepare for jump. We go not as conquerors but as explorers. Not as humans but as citizens of the galaxy." The Blackstar jumped, leaving behind a galaxy at peace for the first time in 5,000 years. In her final log entry about the war, Volkov wrote, "The Galactic Empire ruled through fear for 5 millennia. They believed that power came from dominance, that peace came from oppression. They were wrong. True strength comes from unity. True peace comes from freedom. Humanity did not destroy the Empire alone. We simply showed the galaxy that together, anything is possible. The Empire thought we were primitive because we had only been in space for 50 years. They did not understand that in those 50 years we had learned to work with others, to adapt, to never give up. These are not primitive traits. They are the traits that will carry the galaxy forward into a better future." The USS Blackstar entered the conflict. The Galactic Empire is gone, and now the real journey begins. The Federation thrived. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Technology advanced faster than ever before with species sharing knowledge. Art and culture flourished without the Empire's oppression. The human dreadnoughts continued their patrols, but they were rarely needed. The sight of a Blackstar-class ship was enough to end most conflicts before they began. Not because species feared humanity, but because the ships had become symbols that tyranny would not be tolerated, that freedom would be defended, that the galaxy would never again kneel to an empire. On the anniversary of the Battle of Sol, the Federation declared it Galaxy Day, a celebration not of human victory, but of collective freedom. On every world, species gathered to remember those who died for freedom and to promise that their sacrifice would not be forgotten. Captain Volkov, now Admiral Volkov, returned to Earth for the celebration. She stood before a crowd of millions, humans and aliens side by side, and spoke. 1 year ago, the Empire came to destroy Earth. They brought 500,000 ships. They thought victory was certain. They were wrong. Not because humanity was stronger, but because we were not alone. Every species standing here today contributed to our victory. Every act of courage, no matter how small, helped bring down the Empire.